Hello, superstar third graders. This is Dr. Davis. So glad to be with you again for our next lesson in classification of animals. Let's do a quick review before we begin. So, what are the characteristics of reptiles? Last time we learned all about reptiles and we learned about the things, the characteristics that taxonomists use to classify this group of animals. So reptiles, they're cold-blooded, they have hard, scaly skin, lay eggs in nests on land, and they breathe air through lungs. So even though they are reptiles and even though they are cold-blooded, they still have lungs and not gills like fish do. So today we're going to be learning about our feathery friends, birds. So the purpose for listening today, birds are warm-blooded animals with unique characteristics. So I want you to listen to the read aloud so that you can identify the characteristics of birds. Hello folks, it's me again, Rattenborough once again. If you recall, you learned all about reptiles last time. How exciting that was. Can you remember which group of animals you're going to hear about today? Birds. I can't wait to tell you all about my friend Ebenezer. I met him on the continent of Africa. Before I tell you about him, I thought we would begin today's lesson by quickly reviewing how Paulo, Tabitha, and Anna are related to each other. Remember, just because they don't look the same, they do have quite a bit in common, beginning with the fact that they are all members of the animal kingdom. I brought along special diagrams of the skeletons to help you. Can you tell which skeleton belongs to each animal? Take a look. I think you probably can tell these. What common characteristic is visible in all three? I think you know. They all have backbones. So, as you probably recall, scientists classify them as vertebrates. That's exactly right. We're not going to spend much time talking about their internal body temperatures today. By now, you should know that none of them have constant body temperatures because they are cold-blooded, that's right. Paulo, Tabitha, and Anna are all cold-blooded and their temperature changes depending on their surroundings. That makes two characteristics that all three of them hold in common: the fact that they are all vertebrates and the fact that they are all cold-blooded animals. So now, let's see, where does Ebenezer Egret fit in? We know that he belongs to the animal groups classified as birds. Let's confirm it. Are birds vertebrates? Indeed they are. Ebenezer has a strong backbone that reaches all the way up his long neck and supports his head. His bony skeleton is very important. His bones are extremely light and with lots of air cavities or hollow places inside them to help him fly. He uses his muscular legs that don't look very strong and muscular to push off the ground, and then his wings take over. The weight and the arrangement of his bones help him soar through the air. Birds are the lucky ones, aren't they? How many of you have ever wished you could fly? That would be me. I do like very much being a rat, but sometimes I think it would be great to fly. Ebenezer is very graceful, isn't he? So far, you have learned in detail just about cold-blooded animals: reptiles, amphibians, and fish. That's right. Do you think Ebenezer and all birds are cold-blooded too? Scientists classify birds as warm-blooded because their internal body temperature remains, what's that? Constant. That's right, no matter where they fly. Birds have several characteristics that enable them to fly, but being warm-blooded is essential to flight. They have a very high metabolism. Can you say that word? Metabolism, as only warm-blooded animals do. Metabolism is the process which produces energy in most animals' bodies. When we speak about the high metabolism of birds,
We're speaking about the fact that they have a steady flow of energy that helps them maintain their high levels of activities required during their flight. The higher the activity level of an animal, the higher its metabolism is likely to be. What this means when it comes to eating is that they need lots of food to maintain the energy. Just like you, we eat so that we have energy, just like animals. Have you ever heard the saying, eats like a bird, for someone who eats very small amounts of food at one time? Ebenezer told me that an important thing to remember about this expression is that it doesn't mean that birds do not eat very much. In fact, Ebenezer and birds like him need to eat 2 times their body weight in food every day. That's a lot of food because they have such high metabolism and burn lots more energy than most animals. Of course, there are lots of small meals a day for birds, quite unlike anaconda, who sometimes only eats 1 big meal in a period for many days. So, someone who eats like a bird is usually someone who picks at their food and only eats small bites at a time. What is the primary source of energy for organisms like you and me? The sun. You may have learned about food chains and cycles in nature. You may learn more about food chains in grade 3 ecology. Green plants capture the energy sun, and it is transferred when they eat plants or plant-eating animals. Energy from the sun powers everything we do on Earth. Unlike cold-blooded animals, they depend upon their surroundings to regulate internal body temperatures. Warm-blooded animals are able to produce heat for energy within their own bodies. They can travel farther and live in more extreme conditions than cold-blooded animals. However, because cold-blooded animals have a much lower metabolism, they do not need as much energy to stay alive. Remember what I just said about the eating habits of Ebenezer compared to Anna? The only warm-blooded animals that are able to go without food for long periods of time are hibernating animals. That's because their metabolism slows way down when they are hibernating, and they require less energy to stay alive. So, like all birds, Ebenezer is warm-blooded, and he's a vertebrate with lightweight bones to help him fly. Look at this image and describe some of the other physical characteristics that scientists classify Ebenezer as a bird. Good eyes, boys and girls. I heard some of those things you were saying. Let's begin with the wings. Ebenezer has wings, and wings are essential to flight. That means they are absolutely necessary. The shape of a bird's wings determines how far and how high a bird can fly, in addition to its lightweight bones. Look at this picture of the American bald eagle. His long, broad wings are built so that he can glide or move smoothly and continuously. He can soar great distances, traveling up to, listen to this, 65 miles per hour. That's how fast your car normally goes when you're on like a highway or an interstate. Compare the eagle's wings to the tiny tapered wings of a hummingbird. This is the hummingbird. Now this picture is really enlarged, but hummingbirds are tiny. And this is one of the Earth's smallest birds. His wings beat rapidly, 20 or more beats per second. Now let's think about that. 1 second, 1. They would be beating just that fast. And they do that as he hovers, floats, or flutters in midair. What else helps Ebenezer and all birds fly? Feathers are a great help, serving as lightweight coverings of their wings. They mesh together as their wings flap downward, parting again to let air through as their wings sweep upward again. Feathers also act as insulation. Insulation is an extra layer that protects birds' skin from the sun and traps in heat, providing energy and warmth in the winter months. The point of the feather where it is attached to a bird's body is called the quill. All birds have feathers. No other animals do. So if you spot a feathered friend, you may assume that it's a bird. Because their precious feathers take quite a beating, birds take good care of them and often preen them with their beaks to keep them clean, waterproof, and in the right position. Take a look at Ebenezer's beak. Isn't it a beauty? Not all birds have such long beaks. Why do you think his beak is so long? Those are some good answers. Well, I'll tell you. He told me it's a terrific hunting weapon. He uses the end of his beak to grab small prey, such as snail and crayfish, in the surface waters of the marshland, and to spear larger prey, such as frogs and snakes, on marshy wetlands. Appearing in many different shapes and sizes, beaks are often used to identify birds. Their main function is for feeding. So a bird's beak can provide scientists with clues to a bird's eating habits. Take a look at the finch's beak. Depending on where you live, you may have seen a finch at your bird feeder. They use their beaks to crack open seeds. Next time you see a bird, look at its beak to see if you can guess whether it eats fish, seeds, insects, mice, or nectar. Birds' feet are another clue to different bird habitats and lifestyles. Hawks have long talons or claws to catch their prey. Waders have long legs. Woodpeckers have feet adapted to climbing trees. Perching birds have single hind or rear toes for grasping branches, and ducks and geese have webbed feet for swimming. Birds are the only group of animals that give birth by only one means. There are fascinating pattern breakers in all of the other groups. All birds lay eggs. Their eggs are yolk-filled and have a hard, calcified shell. They need to be incubated or kept warm, so the parents sit on them until they hatch. This can be dangerous because sitting birds are prime targets for predators. Most birds prepare a nest or shelter for their young using whatever materials are available to them. Some make nests from twigs and straw, others build nests of mud. Woodpeckers create cavities in trees, whereas kingfishers bore into riverbanks. These nests provide safe havens or safe places, protecting both eggs and baby chicks from harsh weather and animal predators. Some birds, like chickens, are able to see and walk and feed themselves almost immediately after hatching. However, many birds are born in very immature stages and require a lengthy period of parental care. We spent a lot of time today talking about what helps birds fly. Strong muscles, light bones, powerful wings, and airy feathers. But did you know that in spite of having all of those things in common, some birds are unable to fly? Flightless birds include the largest bird on Earth, which is, does anyone know what that is? The ostrich. With a 7-foot wingspan, it seems odd that ostriches can't fly, but they hold records for being the fastest bird on land and the fastest two-legged animals on Earth, able to run up to 40 miles per hour. Australian emus, also large and flightless, look a lot like ostriches and often travel long distances to find food. Penguins are perhaps the most endearing. Our penguins here, emus here. Penguins are perhaps the most endearing or affection-inspiring of all flightless birds, marching upright like people as they move around in their habitats. These aquatic birds are of the southern hemisphere, waddle along on their short legs and webbed feet down to the sea. Their wings serve as flippers to carry them swiftly through Arctic waters, traveling up to 15 miles per hour. Birds live all over the world in cool, wet rainforests along ocean shores, in dark, dense evergreens, in hot, dry deserts, and along the banks of lakes, rivers, and streams. Some travel long distances, migrating to warmer homes in winter, whereas others are homebodies, never straying far from where they were born. Some can swim and others can fly. Some enchant us with their songs, whereas others shout, caw, caw. Birds come in all different shapes and sizes, but all birds are warm-blooded, egg-laying vertebrates with feathers and wings. Birds are very different from the animals we will study next time. So far, you have learned about fish, amphibians, reptiles, and birds. What do you suppose is next? I'll give you a hint. They're hairy and warm-blooded, and you may just find that you know more about them than what you think you know. Thanks for being such good listeners. I will see you very soon. Okay, friends, now let's look at our comprehension questions for today. This time I want you to get out a sheet of paper and a pencil because you're going to do some writing for question number 1. So press pause, get out a sheet of paper and a pencil. Okay, now, friends, thanks for coming back. Write the characteristics that classify an animal as a bird. What were some of those things that we talked about? In other words, what makes a bird a bird? Now, if you wrote birds have feathers, yes, that's one classification. What's another thing? They have wings. Yes, that is also true. They are a vertebrate. That is also true. What's another one? Think about their internal body temperature. They are warm-blooded. Can anyone think of one thing we haven't said? Birds lay eggs. Excellent job, friends. Those are the characteristics of what makes a bird a bird. Okay, question number 2. You don't have to write this one down. We just wanted to write for question number 1. Why do birds build nests? Who can tell me? Think about the question in your head. Get your answer. So why do they build nests? They need a place to lay their eggs. The eggs hatch, and then this place is also, yes, protection for their young. Good job. What are the different types of nests that you heard about in the read-alouds today? Where can they build their nests? What do they use? Yes, twigs, straw. What else? Mud. Yes, those are different things that birds use to build their nests. And now, friends, it's time for a brain break. So I need everyone to get up, okay? So we've got some wiggle cards here, and I am going to read one, and I want you to do exactly what it says. The first one, everybody's up, and it says, jump 3 times. Let me see you do that. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Next one. Where are all the swimmers? Swim in a river. Now we know you don't really have a river, so let's just pretend like we're swimming. Okay, I see some people doing freestyle. Can there someone out there do a backstroke? Good job swimming in the river. All right, and the next one, and this is our last one, try to fly. Now, pretend like you are flying like a hummingbird. What would that look like? Yes, remember, fast, 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 fast. Now, fly like an eagle. Yes, eagles soar. They don't do as much flapping. Very different things for 2 different birds. Good job. All right, have a seat, and let's get ready to continue our learning. Welcome back, friends. So now, our word work today. In the read aloud, you heard that warm-blooded animals have a very high metabolism. Say the word metabolism with me. Metabolism. Good job. Metabolism is the process in living animals whereby energy is made from cells in the body as they are produced and as they break down. The higher the activity level of an animal, the higher its metabolism is likely to be. As our dog grew older, his metabolism slowed down, so he didn't need to eat as much food as when he was a puppy. Okay, friends, now name an animal and then describe whether you think it would have a higher metabolism or a lower metabolism. For example, I think a squirrel would have a higher or lower? Higher metabolism because they're always running around from tree to tree and all through the forest. Okay? Let's try another one. A horse. I think a horse would have a higher metabolism because they need much energy, yes, for when they have a rider. Exactly. Let's try another one. I think a snake would have a higher or lower metabolism. Lower metabolism because, why do you think that is so? Because cold-blooded animals have lower metabolism. Yes, that's one reason. What's another reason? Yes, snakes, they're not doing lots of traveling through the day. That's exactly right. Good job, friends. Okay, so what's the word we've been talking about today? Yes, metabolism. What part of speech is metabolism? That's a tough question. It is a noun. It is a noun. So today we've talked about the word metabolism and how warm-blooded animals have higher metabolisms. And overall today our lesson was about what animal group? Birds. That's exactly right. You have done an amazing job and I look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.